Stars, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey guys, you join me here, Snowman86, and we are on cattle and crops. As you see from the date in the top left corner, we are at the start of September. So with all that, we should have the mission, and we do maize harvest. So everything that we've planted, we now need to harvest. So just before we do that, we're going to quickly just check on our fields. So we're just going to hit owned, and we're just going to cycle down through the fields here and see how we're doing. So we're reaching here at kind of 80% for field 10, and that got no fertilizer, so it will be interesting to see how that compares. I believe it was to field 14. They're slightly similar in sizes. There's 0.2 of a hectare in it, with field 10 being bigger. So we will compare trailer loads on those two fields just to see what the yield difference is, if there is any. I expect there will be. Field 13 here is 89. Field 14 is 86, and we'll see our values here are still kind of high in our phosphates and stuff, so we need to get that under control as well for the following year where we're planting. I'm just going to cycle down through them. These couple of fields along here should be the better ones, along with field, I believe it's 39. This was also a field that got very little attention here. It was originally planted with summer rye, but we had to plow it under and sow maize in it, and that was in order to complete that mission of plant everything there. So hopefully field 39 and 18, 17, those ones give a good yield. Fingers crossed on that one. So that's how we're looking. As I say, field 10 and field 14 are our comparison fields. So we will probably leave them to last in the harvest. So that's it. We're just going to accept the mission here, and we're going to get going. Now I believe I'll have to lease the gear. So looks like quite a job. For the maize harvest, we can rent or buy a vehicle fleet. Create harvest as for your workers. So we do have one worker, so we are going to have to rent everything. How long we will require the gear is anybody's guess. So we're just going to scroll down here first. We will get the harvester, which is the Jaguar. So we're going to do that one, and to rent it for 24 hours. That is 24 hours in game, so just bear note of that as well. So we'll probably rent it for maybe 3 days to begin with. So the max we can rent it is for 3 days, which is 72 hours. We won't need that, so we're going to go back to, we call it 2 full days, and we'll see how we go from that. So that is to rent that, so we get that and the header as well to go with it. So if we rent it, it should appear in the yard, all going well. Now we are going to go for the 9-meter header, and we are also going to get that for 48 hours. And the last thing we're going to need is the trailer. Now we will be doing a short draw. We are going to be filling our silo in the yard first. Judging off what we've eaten so far with the cattle, we've about 90,000 litres left, and we only filled that to about, I think it was about halfway, so we held well with what we've used there. So if we get the bigger trailer, and we can use our own tractor, the Dites, and as I say, we will be filling to our silo. So we're just going to rent all the gear there. That is everything rented. Now before we start setting courses, where did it all land? Not good that it landed there. I don't see the header. Hopefully the header didn't spawn in the house. So we're just going to start this here, get it moved. So we, unless I'm missing it, guys, and you can see it before I can see it, we seem to be missing a header. And we definitely clicked rent, I believe, on that. Oh, nope, that's not it. That's our bucket. So we're just going to skedaddle down along here and just see, is it maybe this side of the farm? Failing that, we'll have to do a little bit of investigation. And while we're down here, we also want to check which silo we are filling. So as you can see, we still have some product left here in silo 1. So we have 94,000 litres. So that should hold us over for a bit. So the one we are going to fill to the brim is silo 2. So we need to remember that for when we're setting up our driver. And for the first couple of fields, we are going to let the driver do the carting and we will do the harvesting if we can find our header. So if you bear with me, guys, and we'll be back here in a second once we sort out where that header is gone. So we have found our header. Thankfully, we had to respawn it. It had appeared down at the shop, even though the rest of the gear had appeared at the farm. So not quite sure what went on there. So we are quickly now going to set up a task. So we're going to come to here where our planning is, and we're just going to go to tasks. Now we don't need these at the moment, so we can delete them, and that should free our fellow up. And the feeding one, the next date is for the 2nd, so we should be okay for today to use them. So we're going to go new task, and we're going to select harvesting. Now when you're setting this up, you want to be adding 2 drivers. So the first vehicle we are going to set up is going to be the harvester, and that is the one we are using. And we want to add the front implement, and the driver is me. Now that worries me, the fact that we can't select another driver, so we might have to cancel the feeding task as well. Let me just check the calendar. We should be able to do this. Just try here again. So we're going to go in. If I add driver, it'll only allow me to select me, so that's not good. So we just might have to get rid of the feeding one, and that's going to be a pain to set back up. So what we might do shortly, if we just go to staff, and we might just hire somebody on a temporary basis, we will go for the cheapest, and they're all kind of averaging 1400, 13,800. So this young man here will be ours, and we will hire him for, we'll go for 48 hours again, and we're just going to lend him, so he's only going to be with us for those 2 days. So now if we go back to our tasks, we should be able to this time set it up, and we can leave our full-time employee on the feeding. So we're going to go harvest, set up 2 drivers, and again we're going to set up the first vehicle. And we're going to save that, and we are going to go, so there we are. This time we have the 2 drivers, so we're going to put us as the harvester, and the next man is going to be using the doits. Now we will add the front weight, and I believe it's 2 ball, and we need our trailer, so we're going to save that setup. So that's our setup, and the driver there is going to be the new man we've hired for the 2 days. So the first field we are going to go for, I think we'll start down at, 16. It's kind of close to the yard. Select field entry, so we'll give it 114. I wonder if we can leave that blank even. We're going to do headlands, and we're going to do before the field lanes, and the unload station we want is farm silo 2. Destination, so we just need to find our destination here again. I don't know, can we get fields? It's giving us a lot here. don't see the number we want there. So we don't need any of that. Keep going. Seller, farm 1, no. So we're just going to leave the set destination blank. Hopefully after task we want to keep the vehicle combination, so it'll just make it easier for us. We are going to start this immediately. Hopefully everything there is right. So if we hit save, and it's sounding good because I can hear our diets in the background making a move. So we are also going to make a move. So we're just going to start unfolding our header as we swing in here, and the destination is given us is up here, so we're going to head away up and hopefully we'll have started our harvest. So what's good here is I can see our tractor is coming. So that is a good start. Here he comes. So we're just going to enable our GPS here, or GPS even, sorry, our cruise control. And we're going to, hopefully he will stay with us. And if this kind of tends to work, what we might do eventually is increase it to maybe a second worker, where we could incorporate our second tractor as well and see can we up the productivity. But for now we won't test our luck. We have it working with one. What's interesting to note here as we look at this kind of top-down view is the greener sections in the field where the crop is probably still not as mature. So that is interesting to note that that's there as well, whereas where we are harvesting this strip now is definitely yellow. When we get to the corner you'll see it greening up. Don't think I can get rid of that. So definitely some nice features in there in the crop detailing. And as I say, it will be interesting to see what we do yield off these fields. Every now and then we can pop to the tractor just to see how our trailer is looking. Obviously when he drives away, that is 50,000 litres I believe. So it will be good to judge that. Obviously on field 10 and 14 we will be starting with an empty trailer on both cases, and we will aim to see how much we get. So we're passing. Oh, don't do it, don't do it. Oh, so is he? So maybe the front weight is not helping us. we are at full lock there now, and we just can't escape, so we might just offer into the plot. And he's still going to spin us. So what we'll do is we'll just complete his, and we're gotten free. So there you have it, the joys of an AI worker in Catlin Cross. Now, maybe that was my fault, maybe it turned a little bit too tight. We're going to attempt another tight turn here. Hopefully, and also possibly the weight was affecting us. So I'm hoping he registers the crop there, and he will, and now he's going to go. We should get away with this one, and we do. So finally we're kind of back on track there. As I say again, the game is in alpha state still, so these kind of issues, whether it be my driving, which is every possibility, or be it that the AI is just reacting too quick and kind of jumping the gun to get in there. Not 100% sure what is causing it, but definitely something causing it. So that's why sometimes I tend to find it easier to work in a clockwise direction. Or, excuse me guys, either clockwise or anti-clockwise depending on which way you're going around the field, but if you keep that kind of motion, sometimes he is a bit easier to control. Not always. He's going to get himself into all shapes of bother here, so we're going to back up. Not sure how he's going to handle us backing here. And if you just do a quick turn. So that wasn't so bad. We just move ourselves back a small bit, we can see. Hopefully not missing a whole pile. We're missing quite a lot. So we're just going to jump back out of the cab there. So interesting to see what way he goes here. He's going to go straight through our crop, isn't he? So what we will do is we will reverse ourselves here, and we can just get this little bit when he comes back. So whilst we wait here, we're just going to park it up, shut it off, because we don't have that much diesel in the tank. And if I tab, we should now be with him, and we will ride along just to see how all this process plays out. And then once he's back to us, we again shall attempt to keep harvesting. So hopefully he'll be going for silo 2, as that is the one, and we are going to fill it to the brim. I think it takes just slightly over half a million litres. So he's shaping up to it. So we're not off to a bad start here. It is working. So, and as I say, just remember that it is again alpha stage still, albeit very close to a final release, I believe. Judging off the version numbers, we were playing 0.9, and I know there are due an update before the release again of version 1, and that update will just solve a couple of minor bugs again, and also add, I think, one or two implements will be changing names. That is due to a license agreement that ran out. So we are unloading, and that is the unloading texture. Nice bit of movement there. We'll just zoom in and see how. So it's not bad, and the movement is there, and looks well, to be fair. And that is us empty, so he should, all going well, return to us. And that is our first load out. And after that, it's just a case, we'll jump back here for us, it's just a case that we just got to keep going. As I say, for the bigger fields, we might start bringing out a second trailer and tractor with us. Again, as you see, even just to lease everything here to get us going has run us in at about 15,000 euros. I believe we were on 94 before we started, so that has that running cost as well. But obviously, if we can get any bit to the BGA, that running cost will be kind of covered, and covered well, to be fair. So, and again, we have, I believe it's close to 500,000 litres in the BGA of digestate, so we have that to be ready to be used for next season as well for our fields. So this time he's going all the way around, and to be fair, he only drove through the crop as he was turning, and to be the best part, he did stay out of it. So if we just kind of follow him here, will he stay out of it? I think he will. And then, as I say it, he happens to catch in there. So thankfully he is going to the right side as well. So we're just going to kind of stay at an area of view, and again we'll try and operate that we can keep him on the outside if we can. And as I say, the goal of this is we will just be harvesting every field, and just for maybe the next field again we will show you how to set up the worker and stuff. By no means am I saying I'm a pro at it, and if any of you out there have an easier way to do it or a better way, by all means please let me know in the comments below, guys. And again, if you know why he likes to touch us, maybe we shouldn't have a weight on it, because it just extends the front of the tractor, and maybe he's struggling. That's what may be causing him to hit us, but I do notice they tend to hit us even without the weight as well. So we'll see how it goes, and thankfully we've had a nice bit of dry weather here for this, so our field as well isn't mucky or anything. We're going to try and push him out here to the right if we can anyway, bit, so that when we turn, we can probably take a turn there now and get away from him. click complete just yet, because I believe if we do that he will stop following us and he will return, and we do just want to make sure we can get all the crop that we can get. So it works well if you can keep them to one side. I think it's the quick switching back is what will catch them, unless you can be clever on your turning circles. That's probably the best way to avoid it all. I'm just going to test something here now. We're just going to shoot straight across. I believe it's the field 13. Shut this down. I want to see, will he follow us if we just kind of keep harvesting? Oh, we've gone for the big field straight away. So we'll do one run on this. I believe where he will get confused at some stage is when he's looking to return to us, he won't return. But we'll see how we go. For now he's staying with us. Not 100% sure will I break the cycle here on the game, because when he goes to leave the field he won't recognize the path out. So we'll just have to see how this one pans out for us. We'll probably do this stretch and we will turn and hit a different field here shortly. Going to run down this line here and finish this out. Hopefully we can fill the trailer. Now if we had done this correctly he would be directly behind us and he wouldn't be now driving through the bushes. So just bear that in mind as well, that the way I'm doing it here is probably not the right way to do it. But interesting again to see just how well the mechanic of this AI works. So he is full. So that's it, we are going to back way up here. So it looks like he is going to unload correctly. So that's it, we are going to wait here patiently and see will he return to us. We'll do this field first. I believe it might just be a little bit easier to get everything off this without trampling. So we'll engage our handbrake, and again we're just going to jump in here and ride along and see how he reacts to us. And again, notice there on the right in field 14, patches of green. It's not all that kind of a, we get past the trees. You can see patches of green just where some bits are mature than others. So again, that is an interesting dynamic. So we'll definitely have to plan our planting for next year a little bit better in terms of our fertilizer usage. And what does concern me is for the amount we have used out of silo 1, it still carries the same shape that it, I think, originally had. I could be wrong on that. Now hopefully that will change when it empties. And it will also be interesting to see how the AI reacts when the bunker starts to fill. Definitely will be interesting. I know it's the same texture there for both kind of loading and unloading. And what I mean by that there, sorry, is the fermenting stage here was on the left in silo 1. That's already been through a fermenting stage. And here is obviously being freshly put in by us. And those textures look very similar. So I would have expected maybe a greener texture on the bunker here that we're just using, but again, being a alpha, these things are to be expected. So where will he return to? So I think this is where we will have to set one up. Yes, we will. So we're just going to hit complete on field 15, and we want to make double sure. I believe it is field 15 we are parked at the moment. And click to owned. Field 13. So field 13 is the next one we want to be hitting up. So again, we're just going to go quickly into our planner, make sure we're on tasks. Harvest is done. Now can we edit this? We can't, but we can copy. And if we just hit field 13, and again make sure we're clicking on immediate, and farm silo 2, everything should be the same. And again, we just want to make sure we keep the vehicle combination. Save. This one is now done, so we can delete. And we now have this one in progress. So that saves us the hassle of going through and resetting up all our vehicle combinations. That was very loud. So all going well now. Once he arrives, which he should be coming, here he comes. So once he arrives with us, we will get ourselves going here in setup position. Drop our header, and hopefully if we just nudge into the field, that should be enough to send the trigger to him that we're ready. And here he comes. As I say, this time around he should kind of fall in line with us. So again, if this field had ditches that were tight to the borderline, in theory we should be able to operate still, as he wouldn't be interfering with the headlands or the ditches, he would be away from it. So again, there's plenty of room here for modders and map makers. I like to get their hands on it and really kind of elevate it. The base map, don't be wrong, very functional, but I do believe modders is where this game will turn the corner. Much like the farming simulator series, it's probably where it's going to make it. So what we'll do is we'll just drive straight up here now. And if we begin to make our turn, hopefully, fingers crossed, he won't cut down the inside of us. So far he's tracking through. And there he goes for the inside. Realizes it was cropped there, and now we'll switch back to, I'd imagine, a tow line behind us. So the one thing we need to remember here as well as we go along is we keep an eye on the amount of trailers we send to our farm. I believe 10 is around the magic number we want to be heading there. So once we have 10 trailers sent there and we still have, fingers crossed, maize to harvest, we will be sending the rest of that to the BGA, and that is where we would make again hopefully a nice returning profit. And again with that we will invest again in a bit more gear and definitely more land. So we'll see how it's going. We don't want to just use up too much of our money at the moment, just in case we do need anything for the winter. Not exactly sure how it will pan out for us. We might definitely look into renting a second tractor trailer unit here. And again, the reason is just being maybe a bit more speed. And the second unit, we could probably drive that ourselves maybe. Again, the only issue there being either we'll have to hire another worker, or we'll have to keep an eye on the animals ourselves for a couple of days as we pause that task and either take it over ourselves just to free up our other hired hand to help us also on the fields. So that's it guys, we've 2 fields done here. I think we might call it a day on this one. And as I say, we have plenty more opportunity here just to run through. Again, if there's anything you want to see in this setup, let us know in the comments below and we will do our best to get there and show it. But other than that guys, I've been Snowman86, this has been Cattle and Crops, and thanks very much for watching guys. See you all later.